Weeds. Weeds are bad. How do I know this? Well, they just look bad. Think about any nice-looking lawn you've ever seen. Did it have weeds? Of course not. Unfortunately, my lawn doesn't look like this. My lawn doesn't look like this either, but it did. At one point, my lawn looked almost exactly like this. Thankfully, that was a different time. Back then, knowing that I wanted to get rid of the weeds as soon as possible, I headed down to the hardware store to buy some weed killer. I wasn't sure what I wanted, but I wanted something powerful. I wanted something that would kill all those pesky weeds. While looking over the weed killers, I noticed an old man sitting on a stool nearby watching me as I shopped. He watched me browsing, and as I pulled a bottle of weed killer off the shelf, I heard him make a humph sound. What was that all about? Why was he bothered about what I picked out? It's not like I asked for or even wanted his input. As I started to walk away, I heard him say something about weed and feeds over on aisle 2. I didn't want weed and feed. I didn't want to feed anything. I wanted to kill, and what I wanted to kill was weeds. I bought my weed killer, and I went on my way. I went home, applied the weed killer, and in a matter of days, I had even more weeds than before. How is this possible? I went back to the hardware store in search of a stronger weed killer. Obviously, what I bought just wasn't strong enough for these weeds. Then, I saw him again. It was the same old man, with the same look of disdain for me shopping for weed killers. Finally, I couldn't take it, and I asked, "What do you recommend?" He pointed to the next aisle. "Weed and feed. You have to start at the base, at the root." I ignored his advice, took my stronger weed killer to the counter, bought it, and left. Back in my yard, after another application of the weed killer and waiting for it to take effect, things were no better. In fact, they were much worse. Everywhere I'd had weeds, there were more weeds. In fact, they were starting to move in where I used to have some healthy grass. Reluctantly, I went back to the hardware store, and I tried to find aisle 2 without the old man, who I knew would be there, from seeing me. Success! I found it, and the old man wasn't on his regular stool. That's when I heard, "Start at the roots," from behind me. Yeah, it was the old man. I smiled, acknowledging defeat, took the weed and feed to the counter, and then went home and applied it as directed. From what I've since learned, where there have been weeds, there are almost always little seeds, waiting for an opportunity to work their way down into the soil in case the previous weed dies. The only way to combat them is to grow the root system of the grass at the same time that you're killing the weeds. You see, grass just doesn't grow well in isolation. It grows best when it abides in the soil, adjacent to other healthy grass, and the roots interweave and intertwine to make a root system. I'll be the first to tell you that my lawn still gets weeds in it. However, now I don't worry so much about killing weeds. Now, I know how to make the grass grow.